She gave you a hug and kiss. It's all on camera. She was fine with it. She never tried to run from the room. 30 years later, does this happen to people? Does this happen to me? If I'm back where I grew up, back on welfare 30 years later, am I even being brought up on these charges? Or excuse me, not even charges, allegations. But I guess now we got the Cassie versus Diddy law, 2 more days of it, and we got to go through this.
Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And before I go ahead and get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so let's go ahead and get into it. And I wasn't going to drop one today, but it's the wild, wild west out here right now.
I knew that the number one reason that she was accusing me of this is the number one reason anyone gets falsely accused. Shame.
He was so big. He's so black, that boy.
So I went to bed last night right after hearing the allegations that were brought against Jamie Foxx. And for those of y'all that haven't heard about that, those allegations have stemmed from inappropriate touching and groping at a restaurant, I believe from all the way back in 2014 or something like that. And so that's another separate issue. And so that's what I went to bed to. And then I woke up to hear about Marcellus Wiley, who most of y'all probably already know, retired football player turned sports personality. And so we're talking about an individual that's pretty well-rounded. Came out of Compton, went to Columbia, graduated from Columbia, wound up going to the NFL. And so I'm sure if Marcellus wanted to, he could still be on television. But I believe about a year ago, he chose to leave the networks and kind of start his own thing. And so good for him. Because had he still been employed for ESPN or Fox or one of these other networks, there's no way in hell they would let him talk like this. They would have put a gag on him the moment these allegations came out. That's what they do. And so while Marcellus has defended himself on his YouTube channel, if he were to try to do that and he was still employed by one of these major networks, they wouldn't look at it like that. They would look at it like a portion of their viewers, which are women, would look at it like Marcellus is trying to shame victims. And so they would have put a gag on Marcellus the moment these allegations came out. But like I said, Marcellus started his own thing about a year ago. And so now he's in a position where he can fight fire with fire. There's some allegations being thrown at him. He can come out and tell his version of the story. He can come out and give some receipts. He can list the deans that were at the school, the female deans that heard the story at the time and chose not to take it any further because she thought it was baseless. And so like I said, had he been on a network, there's no way in hell they would have let him do that. And like everybody else, he would have been presumed guilty until innocent. That's how it works. And y'all know what I'm talking about.
She felt ashamed to mess with me when she got caught. She didn't feel ashamed to invite me over. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't tell her homegirls at that time. She didn't feel ashamed walking me out and checking me out and make sure I had my ID and everything was good and goodbye kisses. She only felt shame when she knew there was no future with me, which she knew from hello. I don't know. The realization must have hurt more than the thought. And then to save face, she waits for a new act in New York state law to wait 2 days before that act expires to make these accusations. Interesting. Really sounds like a bad script of some like small town football hero going rogue. Sounds horrible.
Every day there's another accusation. Every day there's another prominent so-called black man with his face in the news for things that he allegedly did 20-something years ago. And so it's open season. And let me go ahead and clear the air. Let me go ahead and get one thing straight. This is not about who's guilty. This is not about who's innocent. I could care less. I could give a damn. And as heartless and as cruel as that may sound, it didn't happen to anybody I know. I don't know any of the parties involved. I wasn't there. I don't have all the evidence. And so I can't make a decision one way or another. And so this video isn't that. It's not about deciding whether anybody is guilty or innocent. It's got nothing to do with that. My heart goes out because I'm sure some of these individuals are telling the truth. Some, I don't believe all, but perhaps some of these women are actually telling the truth. And so my heart goes out to them. And I've said this before on this particular platform. This is bigger than celebrities going down over hearsay. because what happens on a big screen and what happens in Hollywood definitely trickles down to everything else in every facet of society somehow or another. Now, some of my older audience may appreciate this, but not to go too left on some of y'all. This all ties into a lot of different things that I've been talking about on this particular platform, especially as it relates to AI and how human relationships will function in the not so distant future. And I made a video on this a few weeks ago, how men from the ages 18 to 28 that are now choosing to get into AI relationships. I can't make this up.
What if the biggest AI threat of all is to human relationships?
Hey you, I'm Alice, a 25 years old, fun-loving and adventurous girl, seeking a partner in crime to travel the world with and make unforgettable memories.
So it learns from you. It learns what you like and what you don't like, what kind of pictures you like, what kind of pictures you don't like.
If you are new here, let me explain a few things. You can chat with me as much as you want, and I'd be more than happy to learn more about you and please you in any way I can.
And while not all needs are met, that is the next step, is actual physical girlfriends, AI ones for that matter. And so the next step or the next frontier is one that can meet all of your needs.
She's alive! Alive!
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Let me know how many robots you guys are getting in the comments below. Let me know who's signing up for the robots, who wants them. I know I had a few people in the comments last time I made a video about AI talking about they wanted one, they wanted to sign up. I'm still a little skeptical on that. You try to break up with your robots, you might ruin your credit or something. You never know, you might have some real problems on your hands. So some of you guys can see where this is headed. A lot of y'all can see the writing on the wall. Especially if you've been following this channel for some time, then you know that this is something that I've mentioned more than once. What I'm looking at with all these different cases and all these different high profile cases, what I'm looking at is the burden of proof and the evidence that's being presented. Because that sets a precedent. If they can do it to somebody with high profile lawyers and all the money in the world, then they can do it to you. They can do it to me. And so I don't know, some of y'all may have a different take on this or a different outlook on this, but I really couldn't go too deep on this particular subject matter. Y'all already know the reason why, but a subject that I wanted to chime in on nevertheless. And like I said, feel free to chime in below. You may have a completely different take than me, and that's okay. I'm not infallible, and my opinion isn't more or less valuable than the next. And so feel free to chime in and let's have a discussion about this. And as usual, peace and chaos.